Salford turned into a scene of absolute chaos this afternoon when a large masked group took over the city streets with an unprecedented wave of violence. It is estimated that around 60 individuals participated in the riots, unleashing a whirlwind of destruction and fear among the residents in the area. The epicenter of the conflict was Lower Broughton Road, where the situation quickly spiraled out of control. Eyewitnesses described harrowing scenes, with debris and bricks scattered all over the public road, showing the intensity of the clashes. Vehicles did not escape the unleashed fury. Cars were completely destroyed, with shattered windshields and windows, and several cars were set on fire, with fierce flames rising from the grass near the road. A small Fiat 500 ended up unrecognizable after the attack, reduced to a twisted heap of blackened metal from the fire. Tensions rose as motocross and dirt bikes sped frantically through the chaos, weaving between crowds and makeshift barricades. The riders appeared to be active participants in the unrest, adding to the deafening roar of engines and shouts that filled the air. Manchester police deployed an urgent operation to contain the situation, sending riot control units who tried to impose order amid the disorder. Local authorities confirmed that a dispersal order was implemented to break up the crowds and control the violence. So far, at least one arrest has been reported related to an attempt to assault a police officer. Additionally, during the clashes, a police vehicle suffered considerable damage, reflecting the ferocity of the confrontation. Neighbors and passersby experienced an afternoon filled with fear and confusion. The sudden surge of violence caught everyone off guard, while the wailing sirens of police patrols echoed through the air, adding to the atmosphere of chaos. Streets were closed to traffic to prevent more people from getting caught in the conflict, but uncertainty lingered in the environment, with an electric tension making it hard to predict how the situation would evolve. Over the following minutes, multiple videos spread capturing the harshness of the events. In these images, groups of hooded youths can be seen throwing blunt objects, damaging property, and openly defying police presence. Riot officers responded with specialized gear to contain the violence, in a constant struggle to regain control of the streets. The roar of motorcycle engines mixed with the sounds of breaking glass and people's screams, creating a cacophony that reflected the seriousness of what was happening. A sense of insecurity quickly took hold of the area, with citizens seeking refuge in their homes or looking for alternate routes to avoid the conflict's epicenter. Throughout this outbreak of violence, Greater Manchester Police spared no effort to ensure public safety. Through official statements, they called on the public to stay away from the affected zones and warned of the legal consequences of participating in violent acts or disturbing public order. Although the police operation managed to temporarily quell the intensity of the riots, tension remained palpable in the air. The police maintained a significant presence in the area, ready to respond to any new escalation. The situation stayed unstable for hours, leaving a deep mark on the local community, which now faces both the material and emotional aftermath of a day marked by excessive violence. The day served as a raw example of what happens when control and peaceful coexistence break down in urban spaces. Salford, usually a quiet area, had to face this violent reality that, according to security experts, may be linked to social tensions and coordinated actions by organized groups. To better understand the impact of this event, one only needs to review the footage captured during it. It shows how the street turned into a battlefield, with burning vehicles, people fleeing in panic, and police constantly moving to prevent the violence from spreading further. The scale of material damage is significant, and uncertainty about the exact motives that triggered the violence remains under investigation. This episode highlights the need for a deeper approach to address the causes behind such disturbances, which affect not only those directly involved, but the entire community immersed in a climate of insecurity. Ultimately, this afternoon in Salford will be remembered collectively as a stark demonstration of how far urban violence can go when control is lost. The response of the authorities will be crucial to restoring calm and preventing similar events from happening again in the near future. After the intensity and chaos of the violence in Salford, attention shifts to an issue that has sparked intense political and social debate in the United Kingdom: the management of housing for people seeking asylum in the country. This time, the focus is on recent statements by Rachel Reeves, a prominent figure in the Labour Party, who has announced an ambitious plan to end the use of hotels as temporary accommodation for asylum seekers. This proposal is presented as a measure to reduce costs and improve the efficiency of the immigration system, but it is not without criticism criticism and skepticism. Rachel Reeves, who holds a key role within the Labour Party, promised during a recent spending review that if her party comes to power, this costly practice will be ended during their parliamentary term. According to her statements, this decision would not only represent a multi-million-pound saving for British taxpayers, but also a significant change in how the migration crisis is handled, aiming to prevent thousands of people from being trapped in precarious and temporary conditions. However, this proposal has not been met with unanimity. Reformist MP Richard Tye was very critical of Reeves's promises, labeling them unrealistic and doubting that the Labour Party could fulfill them if it takes office. In an interview with the media, Tye was blunt. There is not the slightest chance they will manage to keep that promise, he stated emphatically. Additionally, he argued that a considerable portion of the hotels used to house asylum seekers are blocking properties that could otherwise be used by British citizens, adding pressure to an already saturated housing market. Tye's criticisms also point out that the current system is not only inefficient, but might also be encouraging a constant and difficult to control flow of people seeking refuge, while resources are not distributed optimally. According to him, the reality is that the previous government left a broken system, where costs continue to rise and solutions remain insufficient. On her part, Reeves insists that this measure is necessary and beneficial for all. According to her calculations, eliminating the use of hotels to house asylum seekers would save approximately £1 billion per year, a significant amount that could be redirected to reduce backlog in the asylum system and increase the number of cases that can be reviewed and processed more quickly. This would also help speed up the deportation of those not entitled to remain in the country, optimizing resources and easing pressure on local communities. Home Secretary Yvette Cooper has also expressed her support for this plan and has worked closely with Reeves to ensure that this policy can be effectively implemented, highlighting that it is a Labour Party political choice and a clear demand from the British public. Both assert that ending this practice represents a shift toward a fairer, more efficient, and sustainable asylum system. Official data partly supports concerns about current costs. During the 2023 to 2024 fiscal year, the British government allocated a total of £3.1 billion to housing asylum seekers in hotels, out of a total expenditure on asylum support amounting to £4.7 billion. By the end of March, over 32,000 people were temporarily housed in hotels, a figure representing a 15% decrease compared to nearly 38,000 recorded at the end of December the previous year. Despite this reduction, the economic burden remains enormous, and housing costs are projected to reach £15.3 billion over the next 10 years, 3 times higher than initially estimated. Hotel accommodation costs represent approximately 76% of annual expenditures on contracts related to asylum seeker support, totaling around £1.3 billion out of an estimated £1.7 billion for the 2024 to 2025 period. These numbers highlight the magnitude of public spending devoted to this aspect of the migration system and justify, from the Labour Party's perspective, the urgent need for reform. However, not everyone is convinced that this proposal is viable. Several Conservative MPs have expressed concern about the future of asylum seekers if hotels are removed as temporary housing options. They question where these people will be housed, given that the current system struggles to provide quick and safe alternatives. This criticism reflects the complexity of the problem and the necessity to find solutions that not only reduce costs, but also guarantee respect for human rights and the dignity of those seeking refuge. If you found this analysis interesting and want to stay up to date with more relevant news and debates, don't forget to leave a like on the video, share your opinions in the comments, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any content. Thanks for joining us, and see you next time.